want to do a quick summary about this morning's sessions. Two parts. One's from a specification. We all know the specifications has been developed and it's been out there up to stage 3. We have some pipeline work for the future release through 3 also. From this session, you also recognize the import about the VNF configurations and VNF descriptor. So it's important, and that's a very important part for all VNF vendors. If you are developing any kind of applications and you wish to be able to deploy on an NFV or any other platform, I invite you to look at those specifications and look at those tutorials. And then finally, so pretty much, and then another important thing about the collaborations, we talk about, and then you hear a little bit about the panel also. I mean, the specification is one thing, but to be able to get the feedback from open source community and other real implementations, standard or not standard yet, but that's the feedback and collaborations we are looking for. And that cycle, you can see it now, it began to turn and began to work, where feedback coming in, ETSI, IFA working group, SOL working group, and other working group beginning to make those adjustments, including the testing working group, where they do the test result and they give us a feedback. Finally, let me just go ahead and pass over to Don Clark. He'll give the summary about the panel.
Sorry, was that one? Sorry about that. Well, actually, first thing I want to say is to Thinh. Thinh, this is the 4th year that you've pulled together these tutorial sessions at this conference, and indeed you pull the other ones together at the other conferences as well. So I think Thinh really deserves a big hand from us for the work that he does. Well done. That was really why I came up. I told him I came up because I wanted to summarize the panel. But actually, I just want to say a couple of things about the panel. Panels are a bit ephemeral, aren't they? They come and they go, and you think, well, what did that guy say? So what I did is I asked each of my panelists to provide a key message, right? I'm not going to read these, but they're going to be uploaded onto the website. So you're going to hear all of our 4 panelists. What did they want to leave with you from today's panel? But I took a couple of takeaways from the panel myself as well. I was busy taking notes. Diego, you said standards are not slow. Consensus is what takes time. I keep making that point, right? Standards are not slow. But it's also important to standardize to the right level, right? We want to leave room for implementation. This is the big challenge in our industry. How far do you go before you start to constrain the ability of the suppliers to innovate? That's the key thing that we really need to think about. And that came across from both Ericsson and the Nokia panelists this morning. Stage 3 standards are essential. Didn't know that at the very beginning of this game. This is a software world. Why are we doing standards? Well, because in our industry, standards are absolutely essential for lots of different reasons. I've written a lot in blogs and interviews about this one. It's important to speed up. So Joanne, as technical manager of ETSI NFV, how are we going to speed up? So don't need to answer now, but let me say that this is a very as an invited member of the leadership team, it's a very energized discussion. How do we speed up? Particularly, how do we take feedback coming from implementation? So you've heard about implementations by our technology suppliers. You've heard about implementations from open source communities. That's a lot of implementation. So how are we going to process that feedback? Some of which may be conflicting feedback, right? So that's something we need to work out. And the last thing I want to say, which has been a theme throughout all of this, is working together. That's why a few of us got together back in 2012 and 13 to pull the industry together. Working together is absolutely critical. So thank you for all the things that you do to contribute to this, and thanks to Thinh and all the ETSI NFV people. And back to Thinh, and I'll disappear.
Thank you, Don. All right, let's wrap up and enjoy lunch. Thank you very much.